Classical Music magazine recently relaunched last month with a focus on mental health awareness in the classical sector. And I know that you're also curating a long-term campaign as well called Harmony in Mind, which is also on the same subject. So could you tell me a little bit more about what Harmony in Mind aims to do, what some of the outputs are going to be for this campaign, and why did you particularly decide to focus on mental health?
Well, I think we were quite taken aback by some findings published by Help Musicians UK. A survey they conducted quite recently found that 71% of respondents had experienced anxiety and panic attacks, and 65% had reported that they'd suffered from depression in the music industry, that is. So I think based on that, we really felt like there was a massive amount of unhappiness going unreported in the industry. And it's hardly surprising given the nature of some of the jobs in this sector. There's so much freelancing, so much unpaid internships, so much kind of like job insecurity, and just I think a general sense of real uncertainty around where the next paycheck is coming from and that kind of thing. And it's hardly surprising then that a lot of people are finding that very stressful and very unsettling environment for working. So I think we decided to launch the campaign to try and encourage people to be a bit more open and honest about what they're going through, because a lot of the time there is still a massive stigma attached to talking about mental illness, and we really wanted to create kind of discussions around the subject that promote honesty and openness and transparency around these issues. And we also wanted to encourage a kind of more sort of systemic change in the industry as well by prompting organisations to sign up to Time to Change's employer pledge. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's basically takes organisations through kind of step-by-step processes where they can, that within using their resources and their means, obviously it depends on the size of the organisation, but they can start implementing an action plan for better mental health provision within their industry, within their organisation. So those are the kind of main aims.
Fantastic.
Of the campaign. So
what help is there in the classical music sector for employees, musicians, practitioners? What help is available for them to access if they are struggling or going through a mental health problem?
Well, there are a lot of charities and organisations working in this space already. Help Musicians UK is one of the main charities. There's also BAPAM, British Association of Performing Arts Medicine. There's the Musicians Union and the ISM. All of these kind of organisations are working to be supportive to musicians and people working in the industry. But I think what we really, a lot of their work is quite, there's nothing that brings it all together. So I think you have to know to go to these places, otherwise you're not going to be able to find their support. So we really wanted to provide a kind of one place where we can bring all of this together. And we've actually been in touch with all of these organisations, and we're hopefully going to be helping to promote a lot of what they're doing. And just bring it all together in one place and make it easy for people to find this help and support that is out there and that they might need. So
being a musician as well, being a professional musician is it's actually a really, really hard job as well. We happen to be recording this podcast in the Royal Opera House and standing on a stage in front of 1,500 people with a ton of critics. But then there's also the, like you were saying, the economic implications. There's the travel as well. Are there organisations within the classical music sector that do they offer counselling? Do they offer psychotherapy, that sort of thing?
I think
CBT.
I think there are instances of certain organisations that are doing that kind of thing, like the RLPO, the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic, are, I would say, setting the gold standard for providing that kind of support for their musicians. They have a physiotherapist employed for the musicians themselves, and I think they provide if they don't have a counsellor within, working specifically for the orchestra, they provide very easy access to one. So I think, that's really the standard to which every other major organisation in the industry should be aiming towards, really. Because if they can do it, then why can't everyone? I think I'm not sure how it gets gone down for the orchestra members themselves, but I can only imagine that it's a good thing. So yes, that's. I think, for musicians, it's so important to recognise that there's this very fragile and but powerful connection between mind and body, and especially for singers, as you were saying, if your voice lets you down, then that's kind of difficult for your career.